I'm going to be talking about the skills development, which will be a brief overview on how I approach planning this production differently to AS production work. So to start off, in AS, when we was planning our thriller, I think I didn't do as much planning as I could have done. The planning was quite limited, quite brief, and we managed to, it was a simple theme. It was a sleepover with all of us in it, and there wasn't much we could do with that. I think that limited our actual planning. And whereas with A2, with our music video, it was much more complex. So we had to plan the location and whether we were allowed to film there. We had to plan the costume and whether it would suit our theme. So there was much more complexity into the actual planning. And I think that I've learned more comparing it to AS planning because it made me be more advanced in my planning so that we can produce an effective music video overall. And with our production with AS, it was very quick, very simple, because one of our group members, she lived right close to college, and because it was a sleepover, obviously we just, well, yeah, let's do it in your house. And it was very quick, very simple. There wasn't much planning. There wasn't much production work apart from just using all the camera shots and camera angles. And whereas with A2 production work, we had to include a lot of reflection because that would be an exam. So we have to get in the habit of reflecting on the production and how do you think it went and what didn't go so well. And I think I've done that. But with AS production, I didn't really reflect much because it was just about the basics of constructing something on Final Cut Pro because we wasn't used to it. And it was our first time using it, so that's why it was so basic. So that's why I did manage to do a reflection, but that was right at the end in AS, and it wasn't as detailed as well. So, but with A2 now, the reflection is very consistent, and there has to be specific things which you liked about the filming session and specific which you didn't like and how you would improve on that. And I think I've done that, but with AS I didn't do that. Stop. But I managed to do quite basic reflection, which was mostly at the end when we closed off the blog in AS Media. And furthermore, I think with the music video, because we have to research the real artist who sang the song that we're remaking, and with AS there wasn't a remake of anything. It was just fresh new ideas that we used, and so there wasn't any researching on the artist because it was a fresh new idea. However, we did research on the conglomerate, which was the film, the media ownership, and what kind of films they do, which will suit in our theme. For example, you wouldn't find a Warner production company, they wouldn't do horror film because Warner is based around Disney. Similarly, with our research with the artist, we had to research the artist and whether the music video will reflect the genre of the song. And because it can't be similar, that was quite tricky because I had to think of new ideas for the music video. to make a new one. I mean, we could use some inspirations, like for our one, we use motifs, but we had to make it very different to the original. And we had to do a lot of research within other music videos with the same genre and how we can use their sort of, their music video and how we can match or how we can get inspiration from it. So, for example, our one for foundations, we got a lot of inspiration from animation. So, for example, B.O.B.'s Feet, Bruno Mars, Nothing on You, that has a lot of animation, and we was inspired by that. And B.B. Brown's song Children, we used because it was in the outside and she was, and there was a lot of camera movement that was following her, which is similar to the Carol Bernales theory. So yeah, and that is my skills development. Just to include one more thing with the editing, there wasn't much editing we could use in, or I believe, in our AS thrillers because we were, as I said, we were new to it. We didn't have much knowledge of the use of Final Cut Pro. So that's why it was quite limited. So all we used was the basics like fade in, fade out, black out. We had a little bit of color saturation as well. So now that we have that sort of knowledge for how to use effects in Final Cut Pro, we are going to use much more effects because it is an advanced level. So we have to show that we are more creative and we have more knowledge of Final Cut Pro. So for example, we're using stuff like for example, fade-ins and fade-outs. We also plan to use color saturations. We'll also plan maybe use a clone as well. And we're also planning on using still images, old school film effects, just to show that we are using an advanced level of editing skills. And I think my editing skill has improved ever since, because of the use of lip syncing. That was all new to me, but now that I've got into it, I can use that to create the music video at an advanced level. So yeah, that is my brief skills audit, and I hope that this can help you get an understanding of how I developed my skills from AS to A2 Media Studies. Thanks.